Okay, it's Tuesday, so that much means it's time to talk a little boxing. Welcome to the Foreman Boxing Magazine. I'm your host here, Roy Foreman, and today, this is a good thing about life in general. Sports athletes, they have the heroes, right? You got, whether it be a basketball hero, a boxing hero, football, whatever it is, people call them their sports heroes. But today, we got an actual real life hero with us today, because anytime your house gets on fire, you got to call the first responders, right? And today we got us the first responders with us today. But not only that, I've known him. Actually, he done pushed my age up about 20 years because he told me he met me 25 years ago, and I was a grown man then. I had no idea with his dad though. And that one thing I'm happy about it is that it was a good meet. So I want to welcome Julio Sanchez. Thank you for coming in. We're going to talk some boxing today, but before we get to that, like I said, he's the first responder, and I'm going to let Julio tell you about himself before we get into the boxing, because it's pretty interesting. His grandfather, he's got a big history here in the area, Pleasantville more than anywhere, I guess. But his family's been here a long time, and they've been a very prominent part of the community here. So we're going to talk a little boxing. And then we're going to talk after he gives us. But first, what I want to do is I was on the road, as you know, traveling last week, and one of my stops was in Houston. So I wanted to make sure these guys asked me that they teased me the whole time I was there, so you all know this. But I was told them I would come back and say hello to them. And I want to say hello to William. They call him 6'9" Andrew, real good friend of ours. And I've known him for a long time, his dad. And his dad is a fireman as well, one of the first responders there in Houston. And so let me say hello to him. He runs the place called the Top 10 Cigar Shop there in Houston off the Beltway in the Sam Houston Tollway there. And all the guys there, Big D, CD, and my main man, though, is Michael St. Roman. That's a heck of a name. But that's Will's nephew. But he is one of the biggest Cowboy fans you're ever going to meet.
Everything about him was good.
Well, he's in Texas, so what else can I say? But he was good. So hello to William and those guys. Michael Harris from the KCOH 1230 there, and Dan Franklin, Ivan Robinson. Hello to you, and Imamu Mayfield. Thank you. Hello to you. So now, it's enough of that. We'll do some more. We'll take some questions as you always do on the Facebook as well, and on the Provide TV. We know you're watching, so we're going to give you all a chance to talk with us along the show. But first of all, before we get to that, tell us a little more about who Julio Sanchez. You're involved in boxing, but I want you to tell us first about what do you do?
I'm a 19-year firefighter for the city of Pleasantville, former school board vice president. Like you said, my family's entrenched in the community here. My grandfather was a 28-year battalion chief in the fire department in Lang City. He was city council president in Pleasantville.
Lincoln Green,
Lincoln Green Sr. May he rest in peace. But yeah, he also is how I got into boxing. My grandfather was a boxing manager when I was a little kid too. He managed Kevin Watts, who was a USBA NBL middleweight champion.
Okay.
Not Boogaloo.
No, not Boogaloo.
Killer, yeah.
Oh, Killer Watts.
From Pleasantville, New Jersey. Okay. So that's what kind of got me my start. He had some fighters that were he was managing that lived in Canada. So I went to Canada to camp with them when I was 8 years old. And when I came back, I was able to convince my father that I was now a fighter.
Okay.
So, prior to that, I was a crybaby and he wouldn't bother me. So after spending the summer in Canada, I was able to come back and convince him that I was a fighter. So, like you said, I'm a lifelong resident here. I've come across yourself and your brother and every other just about elite fighter in the last 25 years that's come through here. So I'm just really blessed. I'm just an ordinary guy who had a chance to take part in a very extraordinary sport and meet some extraordinary people. So I'm grateful.
But this is the thing about you is that when you told me you were a fireman, and the first time, when I first met you, you were still young because I've known you for a while. But then I found out you were a fireman kind of by mistake because I saw you one day you were in the car and I saw this I think it was a stick on the back of your car. Yes, and I'm like, who's a fireman? Then I knew your grandfather had been retired there, but it didn't have that battalion thing on it.
Yeah.
And then I think I really noticed it a little bit, a couple of years after 9/11. And I realized, the risk that you guys have to take. And that's why I say I opened it. I said my opening because there are heroes. People have their type of heroes, but you guys are real life heroes. It takes a lot to. Boxing is a challenging sport as well. Okay,
Yes.
and some people call it almost basically a life sport in itself. But
It absolutely is.
but every day, the chance stands for you that you would have to be the one to go into this place that
And maybe not
nobody,
come
that
out.
everybody's running away from.
And I could say to you, ironically, my history in boxing gave me the mindset that kind of makes that mentally at least easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also a veteran of the United States Army. And even in that, I think the mental toughness it takes to be a fighter kind of prepared me for those things, because even in firefighting, 9 times out of 10, you're not by yourself, you have help. You know what I mean? And anything else you do, you have help. But in boxing, you're putting it all on the line. And when that bell rings, it's just you. You know what I mean? So the type of mental preparation and mental toughness you got to have for boxing, I think kind of surpasses, even though, like I said, I appreciate what you're saying about being a firefighter, but knowing what it is to climb through those ropes, I think the mental toughness and the intestinal fortitude you have to be a professional boxer, I think even surpasses that.
But okay, you have a son, you said, right?
Yes, sir.
Son, he's 17, 18 years old.
He's 17.
Jesus, I mean, that's what I mean. I didn't think he was that old, to be honest with you guys. I'm being truthful. I've been, like I said, I've always seen him as this young kid he's always asking me about boxing, and we would talk about the sport. And a long time ago, he actually was telling me he wanted to start his own little show. And I think we talked about it one day over in front of the city hall over there in Pleasantville.
Absolutely.
So, and you've always been on my mind, because it was like, okay, we're in this area that's young enough, smart enough, good looking enough.
Well, I appreciate all
that. but it's a thing that the sport of boxing needs, and we talk about more involvement. So, hey, that's a good thing. And I just said, welcome, glad you have you here. And your profession, what you do, man. Hey, we say thumbs up to you all the way.
Appreciate
and the funny thing about one of my other guys I described on there, William Andrews, his dad was a retired fireman also as well, but in Houston. I don't know if he reached the thing of battalion, but I know his dad was also another first responder.
It works that way a lot, kind of. It takes a similar type of person to do that type of work, first of all, and then a lot of times it's a fraternal thing. You know what I mean? Just like if you might be Omega Psi Phi per se, then your son will probably have, you know what I mean?
My son would go Kappa. That's just the way it would happen. He wouldn't let it happen. I did it already.
It's one of those traditions that you pass.
Yeah.
But you're right. I don't think my sons are going to win the
no. It's the thing. I burned my finger with a match and I'm crying. I just could not see myself running to a burning house. But you know what? Thank you guys for your service. You, the military, you doubled up. You did to the Army and the fire department as well. So that's the thing that the city of Pleasantville should be proud of you, and your family is, I'm sure, as well. So now, let's talk a little boxing. We'll start with, let's start up front first, and then we're going to we'll work our way back.
Yes, sir.
All right. I think the second biggest fight that they're having this year is Porter and Spence. Now, I can let you give your opinion, because I give mine. I've been saying mine all along, but I want you, what is your opinion of Porter and Spence?
I think Spence walks through Porter, to be honest with you. And I know for everybody else, Porter is an awkward fighter. He's a strong fighter and a tough fighter to fight.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do like Earl Spence a lot. I'm sold on Earl Spence. I think Earl Spence reminds me of a young marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Oh, wow.
Now, he's gonna have to, of course, put some greats on his resume to be able to equate Hagler's eventual success. But in terms of their temperament, they're both left-handed. They're straight to you, and I mean, I don't care what you do. They're just there to walk to and through you, and he reminds me a lot of Hagler.
I know Derek James, who's his trainer. Derek's boxed with me for quite a while. We traveled different parts of the world.
That's right. He's your homeboy.
Yeah, out of Dallas. Yeah, Derek is my man. So, and Derek was a dedicated boxer, so I know he's a very good trainer. We talk all the time, and I've said before, this is a fight that scares me. Because there's always that fight when people, Mikey Garcia, everybody, I knew that fight kind of went like I thought it would, because I knew if Errol didn't get, and I think he was a little less aggressive.
I think he got too caught up in being told he couldn't outbox.
That's exactly right.
He should have just brought what he usually brings.
Took it to him.
It would have been a 4-round fight.
And I knew that if that fight didn't go in the first 6 rounds, I told somebody, I said, if it doesn't go the first 4 to 6 rounds, it's going to go to a decision. Mm-hmm. Because what's going to happen now is that Mikey is going to realize, I don't want to be knocked out. I'm not taking any chances. So, you just got to play your thing. And he did. I consider it a mismatch myself, but I thought Earl won 11 out of 12 rounds.
It absolutely was a mismatch.
So, but this fight with Porter only scares me there's guys in every division throughout history, right? They have that upset-minded thing.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Young was in the heavyweights in the 70s, man. This guy was the most awkward fella in the world, man. Had a punch, couldn't punch his way through a paper bag.
I got to beat him.
But he beat Ron Lyle. He beat my brother. And a lot of people thought he beat Ali. But it was his style. It was just ugly. It was
like a guy named Ralph Ward.
Yeah.
Right here,
and that's what I'm saying. That's the thing about this. With Errol, to me, is that kind of guy because he made Broner look horrible. Even though Broner called him I think it was the last
Porter,
round. Yeah, Porter. Called him in that Porter. And they called him in the last round. But before that, he had just made Broner look terrible. And the next fight he had another guy after that. He won that decision.
I thought Garcia beat him.
Well, see, that's what I mean. He got the benefit of the fight, the Garcia fight. Right now, here we are, and this is my opinion that I have and why I say this. The fight's in California. He's gotten 2 decisions out there in California, right? Mm-hmm. That I thought that it could have gone the other way, right? Familiar that people are with him. Mm-hmm. If Errol goes out and does not knock him out, I'm just wondering, will they take?
Well, see,
will they give that? Can it be that way?
That's a chance, but I don't see that not happening for a couple of reasons. One, to me, the guys that Porter gives fits are the guys that he's physically more imposing than. I don't think he'll have that advantage against Spence. He's not going to be able to muscle Spence, number one. Number two, we have that big fight that wants to be made eventually in Spence and Crawford.
Right.
So I don't think the powers that be would make the mistake of taking something away from Spence that he deserves. I mean, if he wins the fight, I don't see them taking it from him because it would mess up. Crawford and Porter is not something that people are salivating to see. So there's a lot of money off the table if Porter wins this fight. Yeah. So I don't think the decision will be a problem if Spence earns it. And I don't see Porter being able to outwork him or outmuscle him over 12 rounds.
I think it's funny you should bring that up, Crawford, because I think it's 2 fights out there that people are like, I'm not saying they're clamoring for him and Pacquiao, but Manny is the hot name now.
He's the guy. He's the guy. He's a legendary guy. Just beat a young guy who I felt was vulnerable.
Yeah. We all kind of felt like that.
Actually, me and you both picked him to lose that fight.
We did.
And I'm looking for Ivan Robinson's friend that was with him that day, who said he was going to call me after Thurman knocked him out.
But, so now Spence is in the position, possibly within the next year, or within the next year and a half for sure, to take on a Manny Pacquiao. Should be a big money fight, 10, 12, 15 million bucks, I'm thinking.
Yes.
Then after that's Terrence Crawford. But in between that, Crawford has to take the chance because he's got to stay busy as well.
Exactly.
So in between that, where does Crawford go?
I don't know because he's over there top rank. Who's over there with him?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean.
I think he kind of excluded himself from a lot of those big fights by re-signing with Bob Arum. Nothing against Bob Arum, legendary promoter, but you got to kind of go where the fights are at, and all the business was being done at PBC at the time. Every other elite fight in your divisions at PBC. You kind of do yourself a disservice by going the opposite way.
Well, the thing I had this happen to been with Bruce Trample. We were together last week. I'm going into Houston. They had a fight at the Little Core Center.
Okay.
Top Rank did. So he and I flew to Houston the other day, last week.
Jason Sosa.
Yeah, Jason Sosa. And so Bruce and I talked about Terrence, and we also, and I'm bringing up the kid, there was another kid, Tevin Foreman. We're going to talk about him as well. But with Crawford, he's known, I want to put this right. Terrence is known, but he's not known.
He's stuck in a bad spot right now where he's kind of too big of a risk for not enough reward.
Yes.
He doesn't have the backing that's going to bring you a blockbuster payday, but he's going to give you a blockbuster fight.
He's going to give you a fight, man.
So he's kind of where, like, I remember Antonio Margarito was in that spot where a lot of people say, well, why don't Floyd fight Margarito? Well, Margarito
punches a heck of a puncher, man.
Throws 100 punches around, keeps going granite chin, and he wasn't going to bring you a multi-million-dollar payday. So it's kind of like, why? When I can fight these other guys and make the same money or more money.
I would like to see, Terrence. I mean, there's the guy that We'll come back to him in a minute. We'll talk, but there's another 147 pounds that I like that I was watching, and I don't want to see not the Garcia thing because I want to go to Garcia and Mikey Garcia because that fight's coming up pretty quick too.
Yeah.
But as I said, I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned, I mentioned Foreman, Lomachenko. Now, and Gervonta Davis. I don't know. I can't.
Davis is a player.
Now, see, but
in that
now,
division.
I like
At
Gervonta.
130.
I like Gervonta. I just think that from every standpoint of what a fighter does right, Lomachenko is the best in that division.
I love Lomachenko. Here's my problem with Lomachenko, though. Everybody feels Lomachenko is like trailblazing and doing something that's never been done before. I don't feel that way. I feel boxing has been simplified to the point where the things he does well is highlighted. I think all Lomachenko is doing right now is using angles.
Well,
because nobody else is using angles. It looks like he's nailing.
Well, to me, it looks like he looked at Pernell Whitaker and said, you know what, if I can just learn how to do those things, you put me in the ring with the right guy, I can do that.
So answer me this question. In 1985, do you look at Lomachenko the same way you look at him right now?
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right.
So I think if you have a guy that can take the stuff he's thrown and is willing to take it for a few rounds and go to his body, I'd like to see how you respond to that because he got dropped by a lightweight that I didn't think a whole lot of.
That's right.
So I mean, everybody's talking Lomachenko, but I think Tank beats Lomachenko. I'm taking Tank if they fight right now.
I think it becomes it's an attrition thing to me with him because this guy breaks people. I mean, Gervonta is like punches like you, man. When this guy hits you,
Earl Spence, he just
like
walks to and through you.
Yeah. And I'm thinking that if this is a fight that Gervonta takes, he'll have to. It's not going to be the money. You know, that's
what he's trying to wait for.
Yeah, but it's right now. I don't even know. The boxing world knows Lomachenko, right? But if you and I walked away from here and probably asked 100 people, nobody would know.
Yeah.
So it's not a fight that the United States is going to say.
It's not a pay-per-view fight.
It's not a pay-per-view fight, but it's probably one of the best fights you're possibly going to get out there.
The level of competition is pay-per-view worthy.
Now, Foreman is the other guy that I'm like, if it's weight, you know what I mean? It's the thing we say, wait. Don't rush this thing because I always say you got to be careful in boxing what you ask for.
One bad loss and your career is over.
Well, you know.
His stablemate Jason Sosa.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I love Jason. No disrespect, but it was a total mismatch.
I think he fought him in Baltimore, if I remember right.
And I don't want to see Farmer jump right into a Gervonta Davis fight either.
No.
I mean, get a couple championship world-class level fights. I think he's a very good defensive fighter, very good boxer. I don't see him having the firepower right now to keep Gervonta Davis off.
Well, neither one of those guys. That's why I'm saying you wait. It used to be a thing. I remember Yank Durham, Joe Frazier's old manager, used to always say, well, we ain't had that heavy voice. He said, well, we'll just wait and let them two beat the hell out of each other, and then we'll come on and take the loser.
Yeah,
not the winner. We'll take the loser.
Yeah, let them soften each other up.
Yeah, let them soften each other up. That's just the way you have to sometimes do.
It's not a tough man competition. It's a business.
It's a business.
So I want to get my guy to you in one piece and put him in a position where he can beat you at the time that's best suited for him.
And that's why I said we got some good fights. And all from 130, it's been a long time probably since Pernell's early days. You know what I mean? Back when you had the Chavez and all those guys that were moving up and caught up in weight. It's been a while, been 25 or 30 years almost since we had that type of thing where we had 3 or 4 different weight divisions, 30, 40, 47, 54, 60 as well as the heavyweights. We'll get to them in a little bit too. And can you imagine we're not even really talking about the heavyweights these days?
Yeah.
But
they're coming back.
They're coming back. They'll be back. Now, the young kid from here, the lightweight up here from Jersey.
Juice?
No. I'm sorry. He's the little light. He's getting ready to fight. I like Shakur.
Oh, Shakur Stevens.
Now he's getting ready to fight for. I've liked him since.
He's on his way to becoming world class.
Yeah.
I just hope they're not pushing it too quick.
He has his WBO title coming up supposedly. I'm just wondering, and I asked Trampler these same questions because. You very seldom you get a chance to get guys like Trampler and enter them to a spot where you can ask them, corner and ask them when they give it. I've been knowing them for like 40 years, so they tend to talk with me a little bit, but they like Shakur. And my question to them was, okay, you think that he's ready? Yeah. What's the kid's name? I forget.
But it seems like they want to wait. It seems like he's pushing to fight right now, because I've seen a couple times when he's done interviews and saying I'm ready, and they're saying like,
yeah, I mean, but when a guy pushes you, and if I don't know much about this guy, but he has 23 fights, 24 fights.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't seem like that. 13, 24. Some guys are outfit the talent. That's a big difference. You know what I mean? Some guys can outfit the talent. I don't think he's had more than 2 or 3 10-round fights. If he's had that many, he's only had 13 fights. I'm like, yeah.
And the last one went around.
Yeah. I liked it. I like him.
You haven't seen him in deep water yet.
No, and that's what's going to happen against this kid here, unless he goes out and lands a shot.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to see him have a long reign. I think he's 20, 22 years old or something like that. He got a chance to build up, and I want to see him have a long reign. But I'm hoping that he's just not. But I mean, listen.
We both remember David Reed and Fernando Vargas, right?
Right, exactly.
Now these guys became world champion 10, 12 fights, but the punishment they took within those early fights, their careers were over when they should have been hitting their prime.
Well, and the other thing about it, because once you win those titles, you're forced to fight those guys. The elite guys, man. You can't fight. And it's a battle. Yeah, and they never did get themselves together. I'd like to see him take a little bit more time, develop a little bit more, grow a little more. He's still growing into that. Get his man straight. Still growing into that. And I'm just not sure. Like I said, I'm pulling for you 100%.
Me too. You're from Jersey.
You're from Jersey, man. I want to see you do it. I'm looking to talk to him.
I think that type of thing is indicative of the time we're in now. I think we live in what I call a microwave generation. We want instant gratification.
Yeah.
I mean, we want our meal done in 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
And a lot of these guys, because of the social media age and the access they had to Floyd's career, a lot of them want what Floyd had at the end of his career right now. But they missed that first 15 years when he wasn't Money Mayweather. He was Pretty Boy Floyd. And I think a lot of them seen the finished result and they want to go right to that. It's a process to get to that, and a lot of them are trying to avoid it.
Well, it's a thing like my brother said. I was talking to him the other day. It's like you see a guy who does the same thing you do, right? And he's riding in a Cadillac. You're riding in a Volkswagen, and you're saying, "Man, I want a Cadillac." You know what I mean? It's what am I doing? So now, all of a sudden, and somebody comes up with something, boom, here you go. You say, "Well, I can buy my Cadillac after." Yeah, you can, but that might be the last Cadillac you buy. That might be the difference.
So you see what he's doing right now. You don't see the foundation he put in to be where he's at. To get that Cadillac.
I agree.
And I think a lot of people, they look at the result. They don't see. I put it in terms of a track meet, right? Everybody's coming in and watching these fighters during their victory lap. But they didn't see the actual race.
That's right.
You seen Floyd making $100, $200 million. That was during his victory lap. But you missed the whole race.
The other 18 years that it took. People don't really realize. I told a guy this the other day. This kid turned boom like 85, 96. 96. I said, he's been around a long time.
Within a year, he was a world champion.
He's been there. He's taken his, he's a long time. So it didn't happen overnight. I give him credit. He said that $5 million was chump change in slavery, and he made it seem like it was.
And you and me and everybody else told him he was a fool.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah,
and he knew something that we didn't know.
Well,
sometimes you have to believe in yourself.
You gotta believe in yourself in this game, man.
Yeah.
And he took it. And listen, they did the best thing, a way of orchestrating the guy along to getting what his body, because it's a lot. Your body goes out there. I watch athletes all the time, and I've known them. Whether it be football players or basketball players, you guys do something for 20 years, their bodies are broken down. And by the time they get to be 35 years old, man, some of these guys can't walk. So,
look at our guy Riddick Bowe right now.
Yeah, look at
he was here last year for the Boxing Hall of Fame, and it broke my heart because I spent time in camp with him. And, when he was a young, athletic stud. And then to see him, like, struggling to get up out of a chair.
Yeah,
that's tough to look at.
It's a hard thing to do. Now, Garcia and Garcia. Okay. I picked Garcia. So,
I picked Garcia too, but I picked the Garcia from the Mid-Atlantic. I'm going with Danny Garcia.
Now, I'm surprised. There's 2 reasons I'm surprised. Okay, they're making that fight a pay-per-view. And the way Mikey looked against Spence, what makes them think that this fight would do any good on pay-per-view?
Because Mexicans are going to buy it regardless, and he's fighting a Puerto Rican.
Oh, okay.
It's more of an ethnic thing than it is a boxing thing.
Okay.
And even beyond that, right? I just look and say, why would you feel he had a chance against any elite welterweight?
Yeah.
With the way he fought against Spence. He just didn't look big and strong enough.
Not at all.
And the one thing Danny has that makes him, there's no whole lot that makes Danny Garcia special. Again, I love him to death, but he's not exceptionally quick. You don't look at him.
He's not the biggest puncher.
but he's strong.
He's strong.
He's physically
Yeah.
strong. That's the one attribute he does have.
He handled Matisse, and I must admit,
And he was
I
the
was
boogeyman.
shocked. Yeah, he was the boogeyman. I was shocked at that. I don't like picking fights. I never do. But I thought that because I saw what he did to was Lamont Peterson, I think he knocked him out with a shot
Right here,
right
in
here,
2 rounds.
Yeah, and I'm like,
I was
oh
there.
my goodness.
I said the same thing. I said, Danny, stay away from him.
But he handled him, man, so easily to me that my whole opinion started to change on Danny Garcia. And in his last fight, he looked tremendous, man.
He looked like young Danny Garcia again.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a loss or two to humble a guy and get him back to the things that were working for him, and that seems to be the case in him.
Well, I want to see, I'd like to see him. He can't let that fight go 12 rounds.
No.
You know what I mean? Because it's a thing where the way it's spent. If you let that fight, then you guys got to sit back because nobody's going to really want to be. It doesn't make sense now.
I hope he's working on cutting off the ring.
Yeah.
Because Mikey's going to move.
Yeah, he's going to move.
And you're right. It doesn't want to go 12 rounds. But I think if they exchange, I think Danny's too big, too strong.
That's an interesting fight. Now, on the side of Golovkin, Canelo, the Jamal, Jamal, I forget, the middleweight. Okay, now, you got that little trilogy. You know that the IBF just stripped they just stripped that's the wrong word to use because I talked to a couple of guys.
Yeah.
That's not really what happened. The whole thing was
somebody Golden Boy dropped the ball.
Yeah, dropped the ball. But my understanding is that they wanted Golovkin. We talked about again. Let's soften this whole thing up. Golovkin and
Canelo. They want the third fight.
The third fight, but they said let him fight Geravinko. How do you pronounce that thing? Geravinko, or whatever that. Anyway, they're going to make that fight. That's going to be for the title. Then
what they're doing is they're hedging their bet, and they're almost assuring there's going to be a rubber match between Golovkin and Canelo.
Yeah. I mean, we're looking at that fight has been the contract that Canelo has with DAZN. Dazn, the zone. I don't know how they pronounce DAZN. Look like to me DAZN. That's easy to say that way. But they guarantee something like $30 million a fight, right? Mm-hmm. Close to something like that. The last thing they want to do is see him get knocked out early in the contract. So it's one thing to get 5, 6, 7 fights out this guy,
and he get beat.
We got
to get our money back.
You got to get our money back because the guy, my understanding, they pull 1 million viewers every time he fights.
I think it's a power struggle though between the IBF and the network. I think we've reached a time where the fighter's more powerful than he's ever been, right? Mm-hmm. Because of Floyd.
Yeah.
And
it should
we
got
to
be
pay
that
homage to Roy Jones. He started.
Yeah.
And then Floyd was able to take it even a step further.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the sanctioning body is looking like, whoa, what do you mean you're not going to fight Triple G again? We want that fight. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make you have a mandatory at the same time with us that you have with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And ours just isn't as attractive as the other one, so it's not going to be as lucrative.
Yeah, right.
So you're going to have to go around our guy. You give us our belt back. We give it to Triple G, and if you want to be unified champ, you got to come back.
You got to come back with him again, and that's what keeps the buzz going.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about this, in between this, the Charlo is being left out in the cold.
He's another one of those guys, dangerous guy.
Yeah,
not a big enough draw.
Right,
and he needs a signature fight to put him in that conversation.
Okay, but
they're not going to fight him unless the public demands it.
But that's what I mean. But what's his signature fight? He just fought the kid Adams, I think it was in Houston about a month or two ago. So I mean, but what's his?
But did you know who Adams was before that fight?
No, but right, and he drug in 12 rounds.
Yeah,
so, but okay, so the signature fight that he's going to have. You got Hurd is out there, right?
Now, if he beats Hurd again, which he did once,
he can do it.
Then his name is out there. But not Hurd. He didn't beat Hurd. He beat the kid from Philly, J-Rock.
Okay, now, right.
Hurd and J-Rock Williams are fighting each other. Now, if he gets that winner and he beats them, then you kind of Canelo or Triple G is going to have to come see him. Yeah, but he has to get that winner.
Yeah, well, it's going to be.
And they're sitting in that winner's sitting in a position kind of like, why should I fight you?
This guy's been studying, man. Let me say hello to Truman Sutler, Eddie Morgan. I don't know where Eddie is tonight. Isaiah Alexander, Paul Driscoll, Teofimo Lopez. I like that name. It sounds like the musician. And their comment was
good young fighter.
First, y'all rolling. Oh, nice to know. I'm impressed. Thank you, Eddie. We appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan.
Rolling in knowledge is what it says. Okay, that's
Eddie Morgan, good guy. He worked for the school district.
Yeah, over there. And he works a lot with the kids on top of that's what I like about it. So thank you, Eddie, for tuning in. But this is the thing when you start to look at guys like Charlo, who we know is a good fighter,
Very
dangerous
good
fighter.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm looking at on the undercard of the fight with Eddie. I edited him, I think. There's a Charlo. No, I'm wrong. On the undercard with Spence
and Porter.
You got Andre Durrell is on that card.
Yes.
Now, here's a guy.
Is that Anthony Durrell?
Is it Andre?
I think that's Anthony.
Okay, it's Anthony. Okay. And it's funny. That's the same thing with them. I do the same thing I do with Jamel and I just said Durrell. And that's why I said,
can look at him and tell you.
Yeah,
the younger brother calls himself the dog. To me, he's the better of the two.
Now, he's fighting in a rematch with Benavidez.
Yes.
Now, here's a fight, and I like him. It's the one thing you ever do. I remember Bob Aaron told me something one time. He says, never fall in love with the fight.
No.
That was, but some guys, they just give you this thing that you can't help because they talk with you and you talk with them and they give you a whole opinion about themselves. And it's like, wow, I like this kid.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's the best of the best, by no means out there. I think that I think he may be rededicated for this fight because I've spoken with him.
He's going to give you everything he has.
Everything that he has.
Don't give an honest
they had been training down in Florida
mm-hmm.
for a while. They was trying to sell this house in Michigan. They had been moved. They got a nice training camp in Michigan. I went to it, man. A beautiful gym.
From that Flint area where Foreman
from that Flint area down there. So and I don't know, they were doing some things with the kids up there. So it's kind of, you kind of hate to see them leave there, but sometimes you have to go and make your own move.
Sometimes it's hard to stay home.
Yeah, it is. But Durrell, to me, is one of those guys we've never really got the full potential out of him. Should he beat Benavidez, right?
I hate to say it, but I don't see him beating Benavidez.
You don't see him beating?
I think too young, too big, too strong. And I think he's going to be one of those guys that just never was given the correct push at the correct time.
Can we say that, okay, and everybody can't turn back the clock. Manny Pacquiao turned back the clock, okay?
Against a vulnerable Thurman.
And I never was overly impressed with Thurman because I heard him say something once on an interview. The guy was asking him about who was going to fight. And, when he said, well, I'll come back, I'll take him a couple tune-up fights. I've never heard a world champion say that. Most of the time, the guys are saying, I'm going to take the best talent that's out there, and I'm willing to move forward. So I kind of lost a little bit.
I lost a lot from him, too, when he said he was cool with being the third best welterweight
in the world. That just,
and he was the champ.
You the WBA champ, wasn't he? I think it was, So, I mean, it's one of those guys that, like I say, anyway, Manny Pacquiao pulls back. Turns back the clock, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what happens when a guy like Durrell? Now, do you give a guy like a Durrell? And then also, remember, I want to talk about the Mark. I spoke about it last week with Brown and he fought the other Pascal. See, now
I had Pascal picked in that fight too.
Sometimes guys get encouraged. I remember when George fought Michael Moore, right? Mm-hmm. When he came back and fought Holyfield the first time, a lot of senior older fighters got a little bit encouraged. Well, they realized they had to train hard again, work hard again, and Larry Holmes was one of those guys who came back and did his thing after Larry took off for a couple of years. I mean, even Sugar Ray
Bernard was the
Bernard was,
and Virgil Hill was able to do it. He won his 5th world title, but I think a lot of that comes from fighters who are extremely cerebral.
Yeah,
guys that fight from
they got to have from the head,
and a lot of those fighters were very fundamentally sound, so they could rely on that when their athleticism failed them. I don't know. I would like to say Durrell could be one of those guys. This fight, he would have to show me that. I don't see him as that. But as you said, boxing is one of those unique sports where he could show up and have the night of his life.
Yeah.
And we're talking a completely different conversation.
And the fact that they put him on the pay-per-view side is, it's a good thing because maybe more people will get a chance to see him. I'm not sure about the Fox, because the Fox broadcast, I think the Ghost Guerrero is opening up that show on the Fox broadcast. So that's interesting. He's another interesting guy. I thought he was gone.
I thought he was gone.
I thought he was gone.
Especially that nasty knockout.
Danny. Yeah, I thought he'd be out of the way. But you know what? Sometimes they come and they offer you a fight. They're going to pay you a decent purse. You say, hey, look, okay, I'll come and take it. If I beat this guy, but if I walk away with $500,000,
and if you beat him, you're right back in the mix.
Back into the mix again. So that's interesting. But in the case of Golovkin, Deryanchenko, I think that's his name, Deryanchenko, you got Canelo there, and we said about the Charlo boys. I'm a brother. I'm just wondering, at what point do they decide to step away they step away from PBC because you just talked about
and you're right. That's the flip side of it, because on the flip side, Bob Arum ain't no fool.
Right.
So he said, listen, you got the welterweights. I'm going to stop banging on that door, and I'm going to go corral all the middleweights.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he doesn't have Canelo, he has a working relationship with Oscar De La Hoya.
Well, he just called Canelo the best. I never thought I'd hear Bob Arum say that about him, because he and De La Hoya have been fighting for a long time.
Listen,
he said Canelo is the greatest. That was amazing.
Because he has access to him now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at every fight, every champion Don King had was the best fighter in history.
That's right. I mean? Yeah, you're right,
and that's the way it should be. You know what I'm saying?
So I'm wondering, these guys in the zone is offering these guys some nice money to come on board with them. So it's not like they're just saying.
And with the Muhammad Ali Act, even if you're under contract, you can go get that money and just go back and give your other guys they cut.
As long as you finish your term through with that. And I mean, you only got a year to deal with it, basically. So it's not even that hard. But I'd like to see them with one of those guys. I'm hoping that Charlo boys, they're out of Texas as well. Spencer's out of Texas. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to see this night where we just have an all Texas.
You can do it.
All the two Charlo brothers, Errol Spence, and just maybe,
and it would be a huge card.
It would be. They just did 50,000 people in the Cowboy Stadium.
And two of the Charlo brothers the Charlo brother and Spence and one of the Charlo brothers had the same trainer.
Same trainer. Yeah, Ryan Shields there in Houston has one, and then Derek James has the other one.
And so so that should be pretty easy to.
I would like to see, but again with the draw on that particular fight, you said yourself, the Mexicans came out and supported Mikey. Mm-hmm. And they did it well. I don't know. I don't think the pay-per-view numbers were that, but I don't think they expected them to blow up like that. The idea is that if you can pull guys in locally, then you get to the point you can draw folks in around the world. You got to build. It was a
no-lose fight for Mikey.
Yes, it was.
I kept my title at lightweight. I'm fighting a bigger guy. I'm getting $5 million. If I lose, everybody gonna say I'm supposed to lose
anyway. So I'm happy. Yeah. Now, there's not a lot to talk about in the light heavyweights. I mean, we just talked about Pasquale and. Kovalev has a fight. I think now his next fight is in Texas. I think someone just told me. I'm not sure where it is, but I think his next fight is in Texas. But there's been some hints of Andre Ward coming back. A hint. Mm-hmm. Now I haven't heard Ward say it, but it's the internet is full of rumors. So it's one of those things that
I hope not.
Yeah. He's one of the guys that I think he has to have the spirit. I've watched him fight. In his last two fights, even with the ones with Kovalev, the one before that,
get touched a lot more.
Yeah, got to get a little bit more. He's not the biggest kid either, so
he's really a middleweight.
Yeah, he's middleweight. Yeah, fighting light heavy.
And I think his speed and skills are starting to erode a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he don't have what your brother had, and that big punch to fall back on.
Yeah.
Now, when you have that pop, you always have a puncher's chance. A guy can outbox you for a little while, and you have that security blanket that you only need him to make one mistake and you're in it. Mm-hmm. Ward has never been that guy, even at middleweight. So how does he come back with, I think, less in speed, eroded skills at light heavyweight and fight bigger guys and need to rely on strength and power? I don't think
it should be.
I'd like to see him continue doing what he's doing.
Well, he's a good announcer. Mm-hmm. And I love him. And like I say, he's a great young cat, a great character on top of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, who do we have?
Charles Lassiter. That's my fellow firefighter. If I give a shout out to Charles Lassiter.
Go ahead.
This is my firefighter I started working with 19 years ago, probably 7 years ago. Okay. He had to medically retire because he needed a kidney transplant.
Oh, wow.
And in the last 6 months, he got that kidney transplant.
Well,
so shout out to my man, Charles Lassiter. Yeah. That's my hero.
God is good, man. Yeah. Got to always get it good. And then, Tyrone.
Tyrone, that's Big Brother.
Tyrone. What is that? Tyrone Mitchell Frazier. That's him. Okay, great. So thank you guys.
Nephew to Joe Frazier. Light heavyweight title challenger. In the 90s, very good guy.
And another guy that's he used to send me all kind of things. Very knowledgeable guy. When we were doing the show before on 53, because I'd be one of the first guys to call in. So, and he said, come in for a great show. Thank you so much, Tyrone.
Thanks
we appreciate that. And we got to get Tyrone over here one of these days. I mean, got to get him.
Tyrone was at the gym down here. What was it? Thursday or Friday night? He stopped through.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I've been talking with Ali here. The guy that owns this choice here, mm-hmm. Well, not the choice. I'm sorry. We're in the we are in the choice. We're in the vibe. We're in vibes. And I had to look around myself and think about this again. I'll be moving.
Perfect name. All the young kids say that's a different type of vibe right here.
Type of vibe right here. But and we've been talking about maybe even getting one of the bigger fights to maybe do a broadcast of that Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked to do Danny and Garcia and Mikey and Danny. I would like to do that, but not enough time. But we're gonna try to get here one night, and then if we can get, maybe get the providers and to come along with us, we'll come in. We can shoot the show from here one night. That would be fantastic. I think that years ago, people gathered to watch fights.
Yes.
You put the crowd, they put a crowd together. And that's how the fights get to be known. You put a crowd together. Next thing you know, people know this guy, people know that guy, and that's
go to Mayor Peterson, the late Mayor Peterson.
That's right. Yep, at his house. I never got to. You know what? Every time he told me one time, he said, "Man, are you ever going to come by?" But I was working the fights, so I never really got a chance. I said, "Well, but I won't be here for it, unfortunately." But I would be doing the broadcast.
Former fighter,
yeah, he was.
To watch fights. Boxing people like to watch fights with boxing people.
Yeah. And he actually trained with my brother in his early career. He was at the insane camp with my brother.
Oh, okay.
At Sonny Liston. But, George was young, of course, but he had the Sonny Liston guys, Charlie Shipes and all those fellas out in California. Mel Peterson was a bad man. A lot of people don't know that, but he was. And so when you lost him, you lost a good guy. Absolutely. But now, the heavyweights, because I wanted that one, it looked like at first, Ruiz and Joshua was going to Saudi Arabia, but now Ruiz is balking at going.
His foot in the sand.
Yeah, putting his foot in the sand. I'm not going to Saudi Arabia because he thinks some muckety muck may be up. But I mean, I'm just the money wise.
But if he signed a contract, I don't know how if he signed the initial contract with a rematch clause in it that gave Eddie Hearn all the control. Then you kind of got to go where he says. He's obligated to give you the money he get. I mean, lawyers could change it.
But that's what I mean. I've been in this game for man. If there was a contract that's no good, that's good, it's boxing. Mm-hmm. Okay, because the guy said, I signed that, but because they told me this, and you get the right judge.
I didn't know what I was
signing. I'm not educated. I'm not a lawyer. Guy said, we had a lawyer. Well, he's not.
I don't have experience at this level. Yeah.
And that's what happened. I'm like this. And the side of this is this. Joshua came here to fight, Baby Miller, right? Huh? That fight fell through because he tested positive for whatever drug test. He fell through, and I'm hoping to see him back in the ring. I'm not sure how long his suspension was, but I want to see him back because I think he has the right to be what's the word? Redemption.
Yeah. Everybody deserves
a second and third. Some of in this country we get a third chance. So I'm hoping that he comes back, prove that he says that whatever he had, it was something he knew about and. A and B samples, I don't know about that stuff. You got to go to those doctors and lawyers that follow all that kind of stuff. But I'd like to see him come back. But the other thing about this is that he says I came in as a replacement. I wasn't even part of it, and they kind of rushed me. It was a thing that
but you was given the opportunity of a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You was ecstatic about it. You made more money than you ever made in your life, and you signed the contract. I think you honor that. This guy gave you an opportunity. You made good on that opportunity, and you deserve to be in the driver's seat after the rematch. But honor the terms of the obligation you signed initially. That's just me.
Well, I know that he's contacted Wilder people. Reggie McGowan, who does a lot of my matchmaking for me with my shows. He works a lot with those guys, so I know that he's contacted Wilder people. If there's a chance that they will decide to strip him if he doesn't do a rematch against Joshua. Now,
but it's about money, so if it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I understand they offered him $17 million. Now, I don't know about you and anybody else, but I could use a $17 million paper.
The way I see him spending money, I think he can use it too. I'm looking at the house he bought, and he's riding around in a Rolls Royce now. And you had one big money fight, and by his own admission, he said he was broke prior to this fight. So you got to be close to that again.
And Uncle Sam has to get his too. Close to it, and he's in California. So trust me, I know what them taxes are out there. And by come April 5th, April 9th or 10th, he better make a decision on something because you're going to pay some of that money. You got to pay some of that money back to taxes. But I'd like to see, this whole round robin thing. Wilder's coming up against Ortiz, right? Then supposedly
he's already signed to fight Fury.
He's trying to sign, but now Fury also has this guy Otto Wallinger, who I don't know. Right? But you know what? Now I'm gonna tell you something. Fury may be the smartest guy out of everybody because you know what he's doing? He's saying, I'm not the champion. He wasn't the champion when he fought him, remember, because he was stripped. I can fight anybody I want to. I can fight a guy with 14 fights. I can fight a guy with 20 fights.
And I fought him so well.
Yeah.
You need me.
You need
he
me.
needs to redeem himself against me.
Yes, he
so
does.
I can go make all the money I want and come back and fight him when it's convenient. He needs me. I don't need him.
And we just talked to Eddie Morgan and they're coming up the door over here, guys.
Morgan?
Talk him up. So, I mean, and as a Mrs. I mean, it's one of those things that he can stay active because remember, he didn't fight for what, 2 or 3 years, right? After he beat Klitschko. So now he's got his rhythm back. He's had 2 fights, and he's probably going to have another one.
And I think he's going to be even tougher for Wilder in the rematch.
Yeah, I do too.
Although Wilder's last fight, I seen something from him I never seen before. He threw a straight right hand.
Yeah, he did. It didn't come from back from
straight off the
Lower
chin.
Alabama. It came straight from right there.
Now, if he's going to be throwing it like that, he's a problem for everybody.
I think that Brazil was picture perfect.
He was tailor-made.
Yeah, he was tailor-made for that. And I watched this other guy, Kawanaki, I think it is. He fought Areola a couple of weeks ago.
He doesn't have enough pop to deal with.
No. But you know what? People say, man, that was a great fight. That fight from a heavyweight point almost reminded me of Mickey Ward and Arturo.
It was a competitive fight.
Yeah.
Because they were evenly matched.
Yes, exactly.
But I think either one of them would be evenly overmatched by the elite.
Well, I say it was 2 guys that was going. One guy was going up, another guy was going nowhere. And who else we got over here? We got Rodney Darnell. Is that one?
Yes, Foogie. Okay. We grew up together. How you doing, Foogie?
Foogie. and Abdul Hampton. What's up, cuz? I didn't see you when I was home. I was with your mom every day, but that's Abdul Hampton. That's Tuffy. That's his nickname, Tuffy. So everybody,
we know. All right. We know what Tuffy.
Oh, man, he was. From the time he was a baby. He was tough. Yeah. From the time he was a baby. I mean. With Tyson Fury, he's probably more well known, to be honest with you, than all these guys is. You know,
there's something about that European following. He's charismatic. I mean, he has a personality, and he actually is talking trash and backing it up, and he doesn't sound ignorant when he's talking.
Yeah, and I'm not big on European fighters, right? Because I can give you a history where they had a great one. I always say this about European fighters. And this
They're
is
robots.
not, they are. And they might have that one good fight in them. Lennox Lewis wasn't British, okay? I tell people he was Jamaican.
By way of Canada,
the other side. So that's the difference. But I can name you all the guys. There's a lot of guys. Frank Bruno, one. Audley Harrison, the other kid that fought Tyson, Danny Williams. That one good fight in them. Yeah. You know, and then at the next time it was like kaboosh. Now,
a cliff.
This guy fights Tyson Fury fought Klitschko. He fought Wilder to a month, as you said. And I really thought he won the fight, even with the 2 knockdowns. I thought he won the fight.
He's more skilled than to me, all those guys.
He is. He doesn't get hit with shots too often. Like that shot he got caught with, what's the name? But not that man. If not, you're the heavyweight champion of the world.
And I think that was a loss of concentration.
Exactly.
And he's coming off all that inactivity.
Yeah, and that put that apart too. That's why I'm saying now. He may be smarter than all of these guys, man. If he's staying active, I don't think you don't hear him fussing about, I'm not going to make this X amount of dollars. So, I just want to fight and stay active. And they tell me he donates a lot of this money anyway. So it should be, it's an interesting thing to see a guy like that in the heavyweight division stay busy. So I'm glad to see that as well. But now, Ortiz and Wilder, interesting fight because the first fight, a lot of people thought Ortiz had it on the road, which he did for a minute. But
there was some controversy there, if you ask me.
Yeah.
The round after he knocked him down. First of all, he was saved by the bell. Before he come out to the next round, the doctor comes up and examines Wilder's eye, but he didn't have a cut.
There's no cut. Yeah, no cut. Exactly.
It's like boxing, which gave extra time to recover.
And that's the thing about it. If you don't come out by that time, most of the bell is like fighting the referee's like, okay, it's over with. Your guy can't come out. But when you're the heavyweight champion, sometimes you get some benefits, and there's big money riding on you. But if Ortiz,
I think he beats Ortiz easy.
I think this time he does. I think Ortiz is one of those
getting
guys.
Older. That was his time. It had to happen for him then, and it didn't.
That's what I mean
He's
by
one of those near misses.
It's one of those things I say about, and this is what kind of makes the American fighters stay on top so long. It's because there's something here from whether it's the food we eat or that, you know what I mean, whatever it is, but longevity has always been with that heavyweight. Klitschko, with the exception of Klitschko, to hold the title that long. I never expected Anthony Joshua to have the title that long. I really didn't. I looked at him and I see the muscles.
Brute strength, terrible chin.
Yep. That's it. And
Amateurish
mistakes.
mistakes.
Mistakes. No foot movement. So
Yeah.
that's why he's always getting hit. So it didn't surprise me that Ruiz beat him
And I think he beats him again. That's why I don't know why he's making that big of a fuss.
Well, that's how I say. You get beat up, and hey, can you do it to me twice? I say, I can do it to you that well. I'll beat you, on top. Now come back to New York and do it again. Go to Vegas. Now, really, Atlantic City needs one of those fights.
We need a huge fight.
We need one.
Yeah.
We need one here. I know Larry Hazard does the ringside commentating for Fox on the broadcast, and I'm sure that every time he's there, he's telling what's the guy name, Heyman, or somebody,
he's definitely a champion for boxing in New Jersey. So I know he has to be trying to get.
He's doing it, but I guess it's one of these things. The casinos got to be interested in it. It's got to be that, and I don't think that they think that they have their audience, but they have to be looking around, seeing, Philadelphia, New York.
The thing that's hurting us is that the Barclays Center and the Prudential Center are taking a lot of our fights. Where a few years ago they had some union contract issues in Boardwalk Hall where the electricians were too expensive, so the site fee was too high.
Okay,
I think they've kind of solved some of those issues, but in the meanwhile, they started taking boxing to Barclays and the Prudential Center, and it worked. So now, when you put somebody in a position where they have to go around you, and it worked. Now you got to try to find a way to lure them back. It's going to take something extraordinary to make them want to come back.
Well, I actually spoke with one of the representatives from the union guys, and he told me, he said, "Listen, we're willing to give these guys a flat rate, So that would be the difference. But now what we've got to do is get the casinos back together.
Absolutely,
and have them at the table, start talking. We need that one person to be able to go in the doors and say, I think Kathy tried it. I don't know what happened exactly. Well, she went up to the Prudential Center up in North Jersey.
I think Danny Garcia is that guy. I think
so?
he's from 50 minutes away.
Yeah.
He has a big following. They're fighting him in Vegas and Los Angeles. How big would he be? There is no Arturo Gotti here.
Yeah, that's true.
There is no elite fighter. Philadelphia will come down because he's Puerto Rican. New York is coming.
Yeah.
So
North Jersey's coming down.
North Jersey's coming down, and of course, we've seen Danny come up in the amateur. So this local community here is going to come. So I think Danny Garcia could be the guy. Al Heyman, if you're watching, he'll bring Danny Garcia to Atlantic City.
But that's another one of those things where we talked about the Texans where you got all those guys there, but here we got Shakur, we got Danny.
Yeah.
And then there's another kid out of New York that I like very well. He fought on the undercard, the little lightweight too. He's pretty good. I'm not sure if he has the following to bring 500,000 people from New York, but he fought on the undercard.
You got to build that. I think the big thing is promoters got to get back to promoting. That's another thing.
Well, TV, but see,
they want to come in and set up a fight and walk out.
Because television, if television gives you $10 million to make a fight, right? And it says, okay, now you take this $10 million, you got to make it work. So you get the fighter and say, I'll give you 3, the other guy 2, and maybe undercard costs me another 1. I can walk out of here with about $2 or $3 million of myself.
So
I don't have to work. I haven't seen a promoter.
That's why you see guys out here giving out tickets to Golden Boy when they come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I haven't seen a promoter work this area since, oh my goodness, probably since the 90s for sure, when they used to go out and put posters on. When the last time you seen a poster outside of the casino?
Well, I think even when Golden Boy comes, right, their fights don't have a big response. They had Broner and Boardwalk Hall a few years ago, and the card they just had, Hall of Fame weekend,
right?
It didn't really draw, but I think that's because you're based in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
They need to start getting with some guys on the ground here in Jersey and have them go out and push the fight 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks out. And when they get here the week of the fight, they need to be doing some media stuff.
And you push different spots. Well, see, it used to be a thing though. Like when you met me, and you say you first seen me back in the 90s, we came here for 10 days and trained. We set up camp. People came out every day, and I believe it's people that might not even had any intentions of coming to the fight. But they came and watched the workouts.
That was the genius in promotion.
Yes, it was. They got to see George. They got to see Evander. They got to see all the other guys that was on the card, and they took pictures. And all of a sudden, guys go back, man, I'm coming back. When is the fight? Next, I'm
get people who don't even care about boxing. They come because now they feel connected.
They come, and I think that's the thing that needs to be. Sometimes they say you can't reinvent the wheel, but you put a little spoke on it, another spoke.
Well, you're doing your part because, like you said, at that time we had the Ted Watley boxing show.
That's right, you did.
And that was something that kept the local people on our local radio station engaged in fighting. And now, we got Foreman Boxing Magazine. So you're doing your part to bring it back. Now the rest of us out here, the commission, I think, is doing their part. But, we're going to have to get out here and convince the powers that be in Atlantic City because they have venues also.
Yeah.
And some of these casinos that boxing is beneficial to, what could be more, anything but beneficial to have 5,000 people in your building
Oh man,
on a given
on
night that weren't going to be there.
Weren't going to be there, right?
They just might drop something in the slot machine on their way out. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the whole idea. You use the networks like we got Provide, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to the homes. And now even with Provide, beyond that, you can use the Facebook. Social media is just blowing up crazy as well. So once you get networks like that to be involved, use this aspect to push this thing out, people that don't know anything about the Atlantic City, but they start, and that's usually what I'm trying to tell people. What I'm doing the show is that we're here at the show. I always say that we're here at the show.
Used to be boxing capital of the world.
We're in the vibes. We made a choice, and the choice is the club that we're in. But vibes is inside the choice. So this is a good place to come to. Atlantic City has always been known for, I wouldn't say it was hospitality as well, but the casinos are great, as you just said.
Nightlife.
The nightlife. And I think that's kind of like what we need a little bit more here now is to advertise a little bit more tonight. But we need the young guys to come in here and get interested as well too. So it's one of those things.
We need some of the older guys to open the door for the young guys. You know what I mean?
Right,
Stop walking through the door and closing it behind you. You know what I'm saying? Like Mr. Foreman is doing. Give the young guys a shot because you got to have somebody to pass the torch.
You do. That's why I'm glad when you said you wanted to, when you first told me that, I'm like, okay, yeah, guess what? And my wife was like, get him. Get him. So, no. It's been, like I said, it's been a great year for the sport of boxing. And we're going to close it out with a real good. We got 2 or 3 fights at the end of the year to make it even better. Do we have anybody else who's got?
Hey, my cousin, Daryl Keith.
Daryl Keith. Okay. All right. See, it's nothing like having a big family because they can, man, they're going to watch it. They're going to
support. That's my first cousin. He's a huge boxing
fan.
Well, he's been with me throughout my whole time.
Well, this is what I want to tell people. People have to understand. The choice is on 470 North Atlantic Avenue. If you're around the area and you want to come down, hey, this is a good spot. We'd love to have you come in and sit down and talk. Well, you can talk boxing with us right here, and
as an Atlantic City guy, you can order Moe's chicken wings while you come talk boxing.
That's exactly right.
Julius in here making Moe's chicken wings. So let's support this. Let's support Vibes. Let's support Choice, and let's support Foreman Boxing Magazine.
And the place is available for rental on top of that. So hey, you got like I said, I didn't know about it when Harris Hayes first came out and told me about this. It was like, whoa. And we came in here strictly by accident. When I saw this, it was like, whoa, this is the spot to be. Ali came in and said, hey, man, you guys got the spot.
You don't have to go all the way into the city.
Nah, just come on down. So we'll look. And I mean, like I said, it's an enjoyable spot. It was a boxing mecca for a number of years. We need to get it back that way. And my thing is, that's it. We just got to keep pushing, meet with these casino guys. I think Frank Gillum, I think he kind of understands that as well,
Yes.
But
He's younger guy.
But that's for a politician. But as the mayor goes, you kind of, his power is limited to a point because if he starts pushing too hard, it becomes like, well, you're making us do this.
You got to influence.
Yeah, you got to influence. So, but that's okay. Eventually, we're going to get this done, and we're going to have us. I really believe that sometime in the next year we're going to have a big major fight here. I really do. And if I can keep these conversations going with top ranking these guys, something's going to happen. You're going to see, and we need Shakur to win that title because when he does, the first place he needs to come back into Atlantic City.
I believe he will.
We'll see about doing it. Hey, well, look, thank you so much again. Julio, thank you, man. It's been great.
For having me.
And you got to come back. Like I said, anytime you're available, you'll be here. And
I will be back.
Even to the point of we'll look up. Some of the guests that we're looking to bring on in the following week that'll be joining us here. Jimmy Benz, who, that's another one of the heroes. I say, everybody got these heroes around, man. We got some people in Atlantic City that has some history of the sport in the whole area, not just AC, Philadelphia as well, that has such a history in this sport. And those are the people I want to bring on. Jimmy has said, we talked about John Brown. We've got, I love to get the light heavyweight champion that lived here for so many years.
Virgil Hill?
Virgil Hill, but I think he doesn't come in the area that much. And then the other guy from what was the guy? He fought, Gonzalez beat him. I forget the light heavyweight champion from Atlantic City. He was there for a number of years. Mike Rossman.
Mike Rossman.
Yeah, I like to get those guys. We'll be
roofer now.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay. You're making more money now.
Yeah.
And I talked to bringing in the guy from North Jersey, the Bayonne Bleeder. He's going to, he's winning the Chuck Wepner. So I'm reaching out to all these guys, and we're going to get these guys in here to talk about the history of boxing in Atlantic City. And Julio is very, very, very knowledgeable for such a young man. He's been around a long time. So we want to thank you for tuning in on Provide TV, who we know, and we appreciate you for what you're doing. And we'll be here back the same time. Well, now next week, I'm sorry, I'm traveling again. So I'm not sure. I'm going to talk to Harris because I think Harris Hayes, who's the producer for the show, I'm going to ask him if he's going to show there. There's an interview I did with Larry Hazard sometime a couple of months, I think a few months back. Maybe you get a chance to put that on and show that one, because that was a great interview. And we also have one with Mustafa Muhammad and some other people that they can plug in once in a while. But as we start to develop this show, even if you see less of me, we're going to bring in some young blood in here. We're going to let them talk. We're going to let them talk about some boxing.
I'm here. I'm at your call. I'm at your beck and call.
So thank you for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you at the fights.
Good night.